Gimme Builds 9915 says that they've been rewatching Mythbusters, and one of their all-time favorites is the train tank car crush. How positive were you that you could get it to work? That was a bear. That was one of the rougher shoots we ever had. I'll explain. The myth is that when you have a tanker car on a train, we've all seen them, filled with whatever, water, pesticide, petroleum products, liquid nitrogen. You see a tanker car on the highway or on train tracks. The myth is that these can be emptied out and have a temperature differential so extreme that if you close them at the wrong moment, they can implode. And this does happen. We spent some time calling around to train yards on the West Coast and around the country, and we found one in the high desert of eastern Oregon, eastern Washington, eastern Oregon. And it was hot. It was high desert, so it was like 105 degrees. And these guys had a couple of tanker cars, and we bought them from them, old used tanker cars. So we had one that they said was like newer and probably wouldn't fail, and we had another they said is totally gonna fail. Spoiler, the new one didn't fail, but neither did the old one. And then it kept on not failing. And we had cameras to place. There were a couple of funny things that happened on that shoot. One of them was just about equipment. This is really funny. As we were wrapping up, so Tanker Car Crush was one of the that was in our last season of Mythbusters. And we were, I was looking at my safety equipment that I'd collected over the entire course of making the show. And I was thinking, what are the blank spots? While I still have access to some weird connections, what are the blank spots in my safety gear layout? And one of them was, I wonder if I could get a bomb suit. And I reached out to a friend of mine who might be able to answer that question. And they said, I don't know if you can get it. You know, those things they're hard to get. And then he called around to some bomb squads, and there was a bomb squad that gave me an old bomb suit. Now, I'm not going to use this for defusing bombs, but I definitely used it on the tanker car shoot to do some things that, you know, to get proximity. Again, wearing that bomb suit also in 105 degrees is non-trivial. But I showed up for that shoot with my bomb suit, and we're also dealing with things that will explode. So we're dealing with the local explosive ordnance folks, the local bomb squad. And weirdly, my bomb suit is newer than the one the bomb squad has. I felt strangely guilty. And at one point, I think I was like, you know, we could trade. You guys should have the better one. And they're like, we're fine. That's no worries. But the thing about that was the high-speed shot of the tanker car imploding was absolutely spectacular. Totally amazing. Worth the price of going up there and spending an extra, I think it took us an extra 4 or 5 days to execute that shoot. And in the final analysis, we had this industrial vacuum like the size of a truck. I mean, it was like 100 decibels coming out of this thing. It was crazy. And this would pull a full vacuum in less than 2 minutes on a tanker car. It was like kind of crazy. I might be getting my numbers slightly wrong, but not by much. And we're doing what we thought was the final thing, which was taking the old car and pulling a full 30 inches of mercury vacuum on it, and it did not implode. And Jamie and I are standing there, and Jamie's like, you know, if we could drop something on it, maybe we could dent it, you know, cause basically a nucleation site, the place where the implosion will begin to propagate. And I was like, that is a great idea. And so we're looking around, and we're on this site, and there's this big chunk of concrete with like a bit of rebar sticking out of it. And Jamie's like, we could drop this. And we have a crane. No, we don't have a crane. We don't have a crane, but we're talking about lifting this giant concrete bollard and dropping it on the tanker car. And this was the genius of the Mythbusters production crew, is that each producer that ran a story ran that story both through the research phase and through the filming phase. And the main producer on that was Eric Haven. And so Eric, as the producer, he's managing the site, he's managing the permits, he's managing the police and the bomb squads and all of that. But he's also like trying to make sure that we have what he is making sure that Jamie and I have what we need to get the show into the can and to execute. And he hears us talking about this. And we haven't even started to ask if there's a crane when he comes over and says, I was just talking to the sheriff. His brother owns a crane that's kind of across the street. It'll be here in 30 minutes. That, to me, is like the best kind of producing. The crane shows up and it has a weight limit that's like, its rating is, I think, like 100 pounds lower than the weight of this concrete block. Its rating. Now, a rating isn't its failure rating, it's the safety rating. So we go through a negotiation with the sheriff and the local safety people and our insurance company about creating a situation in which we will exceed this crane's load rating by a very small amount. We'll create an extra wide perimeter for safety of everybody, etc. And we're going to bring it up. We're going to make sure everyone's safe, and then we're going to drop this thing. And that was one of my favorite moments in the show, because, like, I know you could take that story as we were playing fast and loose. I disagree. I feel like that is the best kind of in situ resource utilization. Finding the solution, finding the big piece of concrete, figuring out that, most things that have a safety rating, that safety rating is like 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, 1/20th of the breaking strength of that object, depending upon the environment it's used in and its needs. So we knew that this crane wasn't going to tip over by adding an extra, couple hundred pounds to its rating. Super satisfied, man. And Jamie and I are just staring at this thing for like 2 solid hours, waiting for it to implode. And of course, there's this moment which I turned to the camera to be like, had that, and it imploded. I literally didn't see it with my dumb eyes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's sad. Thank you for watching. I wanted to talk to you about Tested membership. The Tested members are a key community that we find really, really remarkable. That's very separate from Tested and from YouTube. The Tested members, they buy each other memberships during our live streams. So if you're wondering whether to become a member, watch one of our live streams and someone may just give you one. It is hard to overestimate how much the Tested members actually make possible on this channel. They give us a lot of wiggle room. They give us a huge amount of feedback.
That's a member right now.
Thank you so much for enjoying your membership. Description for everything you need to know. And for all the members out there, thank you, thank you, thank you.